Bishop Noel Jones was born on January 31st, 1950 in Spanish Town, Jamaica. He came from a poor background but became a famous church leader. His life was full of deep intellectual thought, faith-driven service, and personal persistence, which shows how strong he was and how dedicated he was to Mission Jones. He was one of Marjorie and Robert Jones's 7 children, and they all had an effect on his early life and spiritual path. Governor Robert Jones was a famous politician in Jamaica and a bishop as a child. Having both faith leadership and public service in his life as a child made Noel feel responsible and gave him a deep understanding of both the spiritual and social worlds. His mother, Margiere, took care of the home front and taught her children the values of faith and strength. When Noel was a child, the Jones family moved to the United States to find better opportunities and more power. When they moved to Syracuse, New York, it was a When Noel moved to the U.S., he was exposed to more cultures, and his upbringing there had a big effect on his intellectual and spiritual growth. Noel Jones started school at St. James High School in Jamaica. It was a big deal that set the stage for all of his future goals, and he did very well in school and high school. Jones moved to the U.S. and wanted to learn even more. He especially wanted to learn more about the deeper truths of Christian teaching and faith and theology. After high school, Jones went to Enon Bible College and got a Bachelor of Science in Theology. His studies at Enon gave him a strong theological background that led him to combine intellectual rigor with spiritual insight. With his theology degree, he was able to understand the Bible in both historical and modern settings, which helped him connect with a wide range of people. One thing that makes him stand out as a pastor and preacher is that he preaches with a lot of thought. Bishop Jones started a preaching sermon series. Following the completion of his theological education in 1994, he was appointed as the senior pastor of Greater Bethany Community Church in Gardena, California. The church later changed its name to the City of Refuge Church, and Jones was in charge of its huge growth, adding thousands of new members and having an impact beyond Los Angeles. Bishop Jones's early years as a minister prepared him for the amazing work he would do later at the City of Refuge Church. Jones quickly became known as a unique voice in Pentecostal circles because of his deep intellectual knowledge and dedication to studying the theologically rich and useful in real life. His lectures were a big draw for people who wanted to learn more about the Bible. He was an inspiring speaker who reached people outside of his church because he spoke from the heart. In 1994, Bishop Noel Jones took over what was then called Greater Bethany Community Church. The church was already a well-established group, but under his direction it grew a lot and changed its name to the City of Refuge Church. The church has become a spiritual lighthouse for the neighborhood and a draw for Christians looking for direction, rebirth, and a sense of community. The name City of Refuge has a lot of meaning, and it comes from the church's goal to be a safe place for people who need spiritual, emotional, or physical safety. That's what Bishop Jones wanted his church to do, and under his leadership, they did a lot of outreach projects to help the homeless, give food and clothes to people in need, and help people who were struggling with addiction, mental illness, and other personal problems. Jones saw the church as more than just a place to pray. He saw it as a community that changed people. The church's promise to be a safe place fits well with this idea that actively deals with the problems people in and outside of. There are now thousands of people who call the City of Refuge Church home. The congregation is diverse, with people of all ages and races living in the area. It is these different types of people who have made the church strong. They allow people from all walks of life to pray together because they all believe in Jesus Christ. In his sermons, Bishop Jones often talks about how God's love is for everyone and how the church should be a place where everyone is welcome, no matter their past or social status. This lesson hits home for many people who feel left out or disconnected from how the church usually works. People of all races and income levels can come to the City of Refuge Church and feel God's love. Grace Jones has also made the church's activities and services more accessible to everyone. While he was in charge, the church created many programs to meet people's needs, such as youth ministries, services for seniors, and outreach programs for single parents, the unemployed, and people with mental health issues. The City of Refuge is not only a place for spiritual growth, but also for community development and personal change because it serves everyone. Bishop Jones was a televangelist who was often seen on Christian TV networks like TBN, The Word Network, and others. He was in high demand as a speaker at conferences, revivals, and churches all over the world because he has a way of making difficult religious ideas easy for regular Christians to understand. Jones used TV and other digital tools to reach more people because he knew that media could help him spread his message beyond his physical congregation. People from all over the world were moved by his talks, which were often about faith, redemption, and personal change. Jones was different from many other televangelists because he knew how to read the Bible well. He often got into deep discussions about religion while also talking about real problems people face in their daily lives, giving viewers a balance of academic depth and emotional understanding. LA is a reality TV show that ran on the. In 2013, Bishop Jones was on the show Preachers of Law, which was a risky experiment that let fans see inside the lives of 6 famous ministers and the stresses and difficulties of their jobs. People liked the show because it showed the personal and professional lives of these preachers, including Bishop Jones, and looked at how faith leadership and personal struggles are connected. Bishop Jones used Preachers of LA to show off his work, but it also helped people relate to him as a pastor because it showed how hard it is to be the leader of a huge church with all of its financial problems, heavy pastoral responsibilities, and constant scrutiny from both the congregation and the public. Jones's appearance on the show. People watched to see how Jones balanced his personal and spiritual duties. One of the main plots of the show was his relationship with Loretta Jones, which he had been dating for a long time. Many viewers were interested in how this relationship changed over time. The show let him talk about his problems in an honest way, including why he chose to stay single for most of his life, which was something that had been talked about for a long time by many preachers in Louisiana. It got a lot of attention, but it also caused some debate. Some critics said the show made the preachers' lives look too good by focusing on their money and other signs of success instead of their main job. Others worried that reality TV might not be the best way to show their groups because the focus on personal drama would take away from the more important parts of their work. Bishop Jones saw the show as both a gift and a test. In one way, Preachers of LA helped him reach a lot more people than he could have through regular religious shows, people who might not have known about his sermons or ministry otherwise. The show brought more attention to him and his work at the City of Refuge Church, but it also caused a lot of controversy. Preachers of LA did a good job of showing how modern pastors work and how hard it is to lead large, influential congregations in public. Bishop Jones saw the show and was even more sure that ministers are real people. Preachers of LA helped Jones connect with people on a deeper level. This showed that even religious leaders have to deal with the problems of life, relationships, and faith. Bishop Jones' ministry is based on his unique way of speaking, which stands out for its spiritual depth and usefulness in real life. Jones is known for taking a close look at the Bible. He often talks about tough theological ideas that make his audience think more deeply about their faith. His sermons often focus on historical context, scriptural exegesis, and philosophical research. He has a way of making difficult biblical ideas easier to understand. Bishop Noel Jones is a well-liked and thought-provoking public speaker who is often asked to share his knowledge about the Bible and the Christian life at Christian events, conferences, and seminars. His preaching style makes his talks both intellectual and useful, so he can connect with people who want to learn more about their faith and help them with problems they are having right now. His ministry is known for being smart and useful at the same time, which makes it appealing to people from a wide range of educational and cultural backgrounds. According to conference managers and attendees, Jones is a popular speaker because he can explain complicated theological ideas in a way that is both clear and hard to understand. Jones is good at making speeches that people understand, whether he is talking to a congregation of regular believers or a group of pastors and church leaders at a theological meeting. Because he knows a lot about the Bible, he can talk about a lot of different things, such as spiritual guidance and pastoral care, personal growth, community building, and social justice. It's clear from Bishop Noel Jones's writings how deeply he studies religion and the Bible. Many of his books are about changing yourself, growing spiritually, and using biblical ideas in your daily life. Jones has written to try to reach people outside of the church with his healing work, giving readers the chance to get to know the Bible better and use what it says on their own spiritual paths. Bishop Noel Jones has done a lot more for Christian service than just lead the City of Refuge Church. Jones is one of many pastors who see faith not only as these two ways of thinking about faith as a personal experience and as an intellectual pursuit have made him a thought leader in the Christian community and have inspired others to read the Bible more deeply and think critically about their own beliefs. Bishop Noel Jones has made a big difference in the Christian world as a preacher, speaker, and author because he can combine intellectual rigor with practical advice. He is a respected leader not only in the Pentecostal tradition but also in Christianity as a whole. As more people see his messages on TV, in the media, at conferences, and in his writings, his influence keeps growing. Bishop Jones is known for both his inspiring teaching and his smart approach. His work has changed lives, but he has also had to deal with big problems in his personal and professional life. His health problems have been one of the hardest things for him, especially in the last few years. Even though he has had problems, Jones is still dedicated to his job. He continues to preach and lead his congregation, even though worries about his health have made many people wonder if he will ever quit. Bishop Jones told his congregation in an honest way that he had been having serious health problems, mostly with his heart. Jones is in charge of a big church like City of Refuge, which has thousands of members who attend in person and through media and the internet. When people in his church and the wider Christian community heard about his heart problems, they talked about them and many were worried about his health. Jones has always been a strong presence in the pulpit, and his sermons are often both lively and deeply moving. But the stress of being a leader started to show in his health, and people started to wonder if he might think about leaving public ministry to focus on getting better and taking care of his health, even though he was in very bad shape. When Jones talked about his health problems, he was honest with his audience and said he was torn between wanting to stay a priest and knowing how important it was to take care of his body. People connected with him, and many of them praised how honest and open he was. Jones was worried about more than just his own health. He also had to figure out how to balance his spiritual duties with the need to deal with his physical limits. When people found out that Bishop Jones had a heart problem, they naturally started to wonder about his future in ministry. Would he still be able to lead the Catholic Church? Many people in Jones's congregation and Christians around the world were worried that his health problems might force him to quit early as head pastor of City of Refuge. Jones has thought about these worries and has been vague about his plans for the future, even though he knows how bad his health problems are. He finds a lot of meaning in his job and wants to keep preaching as long as he can. Many people have been inspired by his decision to stay in the ministry. Despite the problems, it shows how dedicated he is to both his congregation and his role as a servant of God. However, Jones has said that his health might finally require him to take some time off from his duties, either partially or fully. This is something that church leaders and members are talking about. We don't know what will happen next if Jones decides to retire or cut back on his work. But Bishop Jones is still in charge of his congregation, and he continues to teach and lead his church through this uncertain time. Even though there have been health concerns and rumors that Bishop Noah might retire, he has kept his promise to teach and lead his congregation. His ability to deal with hardships has shown not only how strong he is physically, but also how strong he is mentally. Jones sees service as more than just a job. He feels called to do it, and it gives his life meaning. Bishop Jones is a famous spiritual leader who has spent a lot of his life out of the public eye. This is because he is part of a famous family and plays a big role in the ministry. Many people are very interested in his relationship with his sister. Both of Grace Jones's brothers have done very well in their careers, but the fact that one is in ministry and the other is in entertainment has both interested and stressed people out. Putting family ties in the public eye and protecting privacy at the same time can be hard. Grace Jones became famous for her singing as well as her daring fashion choices. People often found their relationship interesting because they seemed to have made such different choices in life. Grace became a culture icon by pushing the limits of art, fashion, and music, while Noel became a spiritual leader. One of the hardest things for Bishop Noel Jones has been balancing his public job as a pastor with his private life as a member of a famous family. He has always been open about his own journey and ministry, but he has mostly kept his family life out of the public eye so that they can have some peace. People are interested in his relationship with Grace, and they are always being compared. Bishop Jones has said nice things about his sister and stressed that they are still close as a family even though they have different jobs. He has also said nice things about Grace's accomplishments on her own, knowing that their paths are different but still important. Because their jobs are so different, Bishop Jones has been in a tough spot at times. Jones has worked hard as a Pentecostal leader to teach people about faith, modesty, and spiritual dedication, but Grace Jones's work in the entertainment business has often been linked to more controversial and cutting-edge ideas. People have wondered about their personal connection because of these differences, wondering how two siblings could live together. People, especially religious leaders, are held to certain moral and social standards. These standards can include ideas about marriage and family life. Jones was single for most of his adult life, which made people interested in him. Many people made guesses about his relationships and how they fit with his role as a man of faith. Bishop Jones's most famous relationship became public when he dated Loretta Jones for a long time. They were on the reality TV show Preachers of LA in 2013, followed the lives of famous pastors in Los Angeles and showed viewers what problems and stresses religious leaders face behind the scenes. One of the main plots of Bishop Jones's story was his friendship with Loretta. People who watched the show saw how they interact with each other, which led to discussions about the nature of their relationship. Since Bishop Jones and Loretta had been close for a long time, there was a lot of talk about whether they would get married. People in the audience were interested in how they handled the demands of the public and the problems in their personal lives. Despite the pressure, Bishop Jones continued to lead with honesty. He never avoided problems. Instead, he faced them head-on. He was open about his life, including both the good and bad things that happened, which made him relatable to his community and the people who followed his ministry. Bishop Noel Jones is respected by many in the Christian community for his deep theological views, unwavering faith, and strength in the face of hardship. He has become a better leader by being able to encourage and inspire the people who follow his mission. He shows them how to turn problems into chances to learn and connect. Jones is still the leader of the City of Refuge Church. He is a source of hope and strength for his community and reminds them that faith is a journey with both ups and downs. He is committed to helping others, which will ensure that his influence will last for a long time. Bishop Jones teaches us all how to go on our own spiritual paths and deal with life's problems with faith, courage, and a strong spirit.